An important deadline in the legislature is fastly approaching. Bills must make it out of committee by March 7th in order to remain eligible for consideration. With less than a month until the deadline, Local 5's Alex Fulton is in studio to share where some of those bills stand. Alex.
Well, Larissa, it's hard to believe we're about to enter the next phase of the legislative process. Between the ones introduced in the Senate and the House, 87 bills are already out of committee. One of those advancing bills is a House study bill that makes it illegal to drive with an open THC container similar to current alcohol laws. Anyone found in violation would face a misdemeanor charge and a $260 fine. Next, two nearly identical bills from the two chambers requiring public schools to show depictions of fetal development also passed in committee. Parents can opt out of the curriculum if they choose.
I don't think that it can hurt our youth to be able to see what a wonderful miracle it is to have that human life.
Staying on education, another advancing House bill requires public schools to display "In God We Trust" at the front entrance of school buildings. It also requires them to adopt 2 minutes of silence after the Pledge of Allegiance every day. Private schools aren't included in these requirements under the current version of the bill. Now to the ones that failed to advance. One bill in the Senate would have created a 5-year pause on new casino construction to attempt to delay a project in Cedar Rapids.
Bully is a word I've used, interestingly enough. And certainly not to talk about my city, but others. When you talk about this being a much bigger issue than just Cedar Rapids, I couldn't agree more.
Days after the vote, the Iowa Racing and Gaming Commission approved a gambling license for the $275 million casino. A House study bill that failed to advance out of subcommittee would have stopped community colleges from establishing diversity, equity, and inclusion offices. This would have followed similar guidelines put in place for public universities last legislative session. Another piece of legislation in the House would have made it a crime to pet sharks. It comes after an employee was bitten by a shark at Blue Zoo, an aquarium in West Des Moines. Now, with all of that being said, there are still multiple steps for bills to become law. Next, they must be approved by both chambers and then be signed into law by Governor Kim Reynolds.